Good morning, Chicago Cubs fans. We are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. We're going to revisit a name the Cubs considered getting at the trade deadline, but did not pull the trigger. We're going to talk about Eugenio Suarez. Shout out to the comment in yesterday's video. This is an absolutely excellent point. He could maybe be the perfect fit for the Cubs' needs for the 2026 seasons. We're going to talk about some roster moves, the free agent slow burn that is the Major League Baseball offseason, and we're going to talk about a free agent signing that did occur that, again, could have implications not just for the Cubs, but for the free agent market in general. But before we get into all that, just want to give everyone a big thank you. Again, the support on this channel has been absolutely amazing. Continue to share your thoughts in the comment section. Continue to hit that like button. And of course, if you've already subscribed, you are the best. But if you're new, make sure you hop on and join the fray, just like the Cubs are going to be in on Alex Bregman, according to Jeff Passan. So let's get on into it. We're going to talk about Eugenio Suarez, ladies and gentlemen. This was a name the Cubs did consider at the trade deadline. He was eventually traded to the Mariners, who were on the doorstep of the World Series. Now, I am a proud proponent of the test for Eugenio Suarez. I want to see him have 81 games at Wrigley Field. He has murdered the Cubs his whole entire career. Now, I would love to see him wearing the blue pinstripes at Wrigley Field, and I would love to see him hitting bombs into the left field bleachers. I think he would be a good fit. I think he would service a need. I also think pairing him alongside with Matt Shaw would allow Shaw to continue his development, but a big bat anchor in the lineup, right? Suarez can hit anywhere from third to fifth. He hit an incredible 49 home runs last year. He was the talk of the trade deadline all-star season. Eugenio Suarez has been a power hitter his whole career and is an absolute stud. Now, yes, is he getting a little bit older? Absolutely. Could some of those numbers dip? Sure. But again, what the Cubs need from this free agent is 30 home runs. We need 30 home runs. We need RBI opportunities. And I think he would provide that for this team. And I think he would provide protection for Pete Crow Armstrong and Seiya Suzuki. I'm not sure where we're going to bat him in the lineup. I'm guessing a lineup's going to look like Michael Busch, Nico Horner. Then that 3-4 range is going to be Seiya and PCA. Now, if you add a bat like Eugenio Suarez, that could be a really, really good get and really solidify this lineup and continue to keep it dangerous. I still think we would need more as a team, but it is a really, really good consideration for probably the price you would have to pay him, and it would not be a long-term deal, and I think that's really what the Cubs are looking for. They do not want a lot of money on the books entering the 2027 season because of the impending lockout. So, the more I think about it, I really think Eugenio Suarez could be a really good fit for this Cubs team. Again, he could play third base. He could spare Matt Shaw a day when he needs a day off, etc. But he would also continue to allow Matt Shaw to play and continue to get those reps as needed. Now, talking about free agency on this channel in general, it's a real slow burn here in the MLB offseason, right? If I'm not mistaken, Major League Baseball offseason is one of the longest off seasons in all of professional sports, right? The NBA ends in June. Their training camp is right away in September. Now, their free agent period starts on July 1st, but generally speaking, all those moves are made within a 7 to 10 day period, and especially with NBA free agency, they've kind of nailed down how to make it dramatic and all that stuff. The NFL free agency period starts a few weeks after the Super Bowl, early March, and all those deals are done within a few days as well. Hockey, no offense, guys, I don't really watch hockey, so I'm not too familiar with it, but baseball ends in October. We have all of November. We have the GM meetings. We have the winter meeting in December, January, kind of a blah period, and then, of course, pitchers and catchers begin to report at the end of February. In the middle of February, that's when the pitchers and catchers go, but then spring training kind of starts to begin in late February. So there's just a long period. It's a real slow burn. Again, we've only had one major free agent signing. That was Mr. Naylor going back to the Mariners. Yarbrough has signed back with the has gone to the Yankees. A lot of players declined the qualifying offer, and a couple did accept their qualifying offer. Shota being specifically, but yeah, it's a real slow burn here, ladies and gentlemen, filled with a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors. So just be prepared on the channel for me to be talking about possible ideas, right? We've gone over many of them already, and I'm going to keep on firing them. I like a lot of different players that I think could help fit the Cubs' needs, and I'm not going to just go and be ridiculous about it. Do I think a lot of these, obviously all these signings are not going to happen. You can't have all these players, but you got to let your mind think. You got to see, how will this player fit, et cetera, et cetera. So just remember, it's an incredibly slow burn. I really don't imagine the Cubs making any significant moves until the winter meetings, which is going to be in the middle of December. That's when Jed and co made that move for Kyle Tucker last year. So again, I expect this next few weeks to be a little bit of a quiet period, maybe a minor signing here and or there, or some moves like we're going to talk about. We have the 40-man roster we're about to discuss because the Cubs did make some moves. Obviously, Shota did accept his qualifying offer with the team, and here are the rest of the moves. So the Cubs selected the contracts of Riley Martin, infielder Pedro Ramirez, and infielder James Triantos. Obviously, Shota accepted his qualifying one-year offer. Our 40-man roster stands at 32. Now, we probably selected the contract of all those guys because they were going to be Rule 5 eligible. Now, if you don't know how the Rule 5 draft works, the Rule 5 draft happens at the at the winter meetings in December, where you can pick players that are Rule 5 draft eligible. If you don't have to draft anyone, but if you do draft someone, they have to stay on their major league club for the entire season. Now, do you remember Gage Workman? We drafted him in the Rule 5 draft from the Tigers, right? If you do not keep him on your major league roster, you have to send him back to the club. Gage Workman eventually worked his way to the White Sox and then eventually found his way back in Detroit. So sometimes these moves do work, sometimes they do not. There's not a lot of notable Rule 5 players, but here, I can give you guys a few fun names that have done well in Major League Baseball history. Mark Canha is a Rule 5 draft player as well. Anthony Santander in 2016. He was selected by the Orioles from Cleveland, and he was attempting to play for a World Series team this year. Garrett Whitlock, he's a pitcher. Cubs, Brad Keller. I believe this is him, right? Brad Keller, yeah. Selected by the Reds, traded to the Royals, etc., etc. Kevin, you just never know where you're going to find Major League talent, I guess is more my point in this situation. So I'm not sure if the Cubs are going to be keeping their eye on anyone specifically for this Rule 5 draft, but if we do make a selection, that's going to be a name that we have to consider because they have to have a Major League spot for the entire season. Basically, you have a certain amount of time to make the major leagues, and once you reach that point, again, this is what I'm talking about, right? When you go down our list of prospects, a lot of them have a 2025 ETA. They need to come up, or we need to make a move for them so they can go make a major league club elsewhere. That is my whole entire point. So James Triantos is one of those guys. He is going to need major league time soon because he's almost at the end of his window. So I'm kind of thinking the Cubs are going to make a trade for trade Triantos, personally. They do like his bat. He kind of gives me Nico Horner vibes, but again, we already have Nico Horner. We don't need to have another Nico Horner, if you know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, let's go back here real quick. That's not it. This is right here. This is the move. So, selected left-handed Riley pitcher, infielder Pedro Ramirez, and James Triantos. So I think those were to keep those guys Rule 5 ineligible. You have to put them on your 40-man roster to do so. So I think that's what the Cubs are doing here. But I also think the Cubs are going to make a trade this offseason. For who, I do not know. There's already been one trade. It was Taylor Ward of the Angels. He was traded to Baltimore for Grayson Rodriguez, a really solid pitcher. didn't have the best start with the Orioles, but honestly, the Angels need pitching. The Orioles need offensive outfielders, so maybe a win-win deal for both those parties. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick before I do wrap it up here on Cubs Daily. So Raisel Iglesias did sign a deal. He signed back with Atlanta, 1 year, $16 million. Now, you're like, Steven, what is the whole point of this? My point is he struggled immensely in the first half. He did bounce back in the second half. He did look really solid. And Raisel Iglesias has been one of the better relievers in baseball for a good amount of time now. But if that's the going rate for quality relief pitching, we are in trouble. I'm not sure how the Cubs are going to figure that out. What is Brad Keller going to get paid? Who's going to pay him money? Because someone's going to pay him a lot of money. I've even heard rumors they're trying to figure out how to make him a starter again. So again, if Iglesias is signing for $16 million, who's out there? And I saw a comment the other day or yesterday, and they want to get They want to add Edwin Diaz. I would love to add Edwin Diaz. He wants a similar type contract as to the one he had with the Mets. The Cubs are not doing that. The Cubs do not pay relievers that kind of money. Not. I don't think once in my entire life. I don't even know what the biggest reliever contract is in my entire life. But that's my whole point. Is I don't even know because I don't remember. That's not what we do as an organization. So we need to support Danny Palencia in some capacity. Jed and Co have always figured this out, but generally speaking, I don't know where that name is going to come from, and I think that's kind of part of the surprise here with that as well. So, couple programming notes, ladies and gentlemen. Just remember, tomorrow is Friday. It's a viewer comment Friday, so I'm going to be going over some of your guys and gals' comments from previous videos. Again, share your thoughts down below in this video, and you could be featured in the video tomorrow. If you guys are new to the channel, again, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to Cubs Daily. We'll be coming at you Monday through Friday during the off season, and if anything happens over the weekend, we'll do a special episode for that as well. So I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic Thursday, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.